Stugotz, I really genuinely need some help with what we're about to do here, because I believe that the way that I came in off of Safari with very important news things happening, and I want to show off Ron Magill's pictures and talk about Safari, and next thing you know, you're looking up and there's a luxury pool in the back, and I'm saying we're staying in tents. And everyone's accusing Ron Magill of using all of the endowment funds on giant vacations all over the world, and Billy's at the lead on this.
No, falsehoods.
Not falsehoods.
No. But I think it's fair to wonder how a county employee has been to Africa 54 times.
Yeah.
It's because you're embezzling funds. Mike Schur has been accusing you of it for a long time. There's a paper trail of Meadowlark money that he has sent your way that just says, I don't want this money. This is Ron Magill laundering money, faking, sending it to animals. Ron, they want to hear about our luxurious vacation at the expense of the American public.
Not the expense of the American public. As you know, Dan, you paid full price. I didn't pay full price, but I did pay some. And, I get rewarded for all the conservation work I do over there by giving away thousands of dollars from the endowment. As you saw, you were part of that. We gave it to the Cheetah Conservation Group Outreach, Cheetah Outreach in South Africa. We gave it to the Painted Dog Research Trust in Zimbabwe. So these are thousands of dollars that are going to help protect these animals, conserve that precious wildlife down there. And listen, the places we stayed in, I'm not going to lie, they're the most luxurious. They're more luxurious than my house. The only difference is they have canvas walls. But you've got these incredible 4-poster beds. You got fireplaces in the tent. You've got, the huge copper tubs. You got 2 big copper sinks. You got, it's an incredible. It's hard to believe that they're tents, but that's all great due to Great Plains. They have such a wonderful organization over there, and they do nothing but the best in Africa.
What more can you tell us about Donald?
Which Donald?
He's fine. You're talking about the Donald, the guide.
Yeah,
he's fine. Listen, it was a hairy situation. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been to Africa many times. Right. This is the 3rd time that I have been quote unquote attacked by an animal, but by far this was one of the closest experiences I've had to watching my life flash in front of me. And for me, it wasn't as much me. I was just thankful to God that my wife wasn't walking with me that morning, which she usually does every morning. But this morning she was really, really close. She said, I'm going to stay in. I said, okay, great. So I went out there with Donald and went doing the wake-up calls, and as we got to this one tent, as I think Dan already explained, all of a sudden this huge Cape buffalo just blew out of some big brush that she was hiding in and sleeping, and she came right at us, and Donald reacting very quickly, and myself with the flashlight, we put the flashlight right in the animal's eyes, using it much like a matador uses a red tape to have him drawn to the light, and just right before he would hit us, we stepped to the side, keeping the light to the left of us. He went right into the tent, slashed the tent open. 2 of my most important guests, some of the biggest donors at the zoo, were in that tent at the time, and that was pretty hairy. She started screaming, and I had to scream, "Shut up, don't say anything." We had to be quiet because that buffalo was going to follow the sound, and I was just hoping and praying that it would go right as opposed to left, because if it went left, we had nowhere to go.
Ron, speaking of that, so had the animals attacked, and this is a scenario where the animal says, you know what, you get to choose a donor that I kill. Where would Dan fall on that list of the donors that would go when you're negotiating with said animal?
No, Dan would be at the very end of that list. Dan wouldn't be on the list. I'd throw myself in front of the buffalo before it.
Even this big donor, you said one of your biggest donors, you choose Dan over that person, or yourself over that person?
I would choose Dan over anybody because Dan's family.
Okay. Well, then a lot of animals may die, because I know that Dan knows how to keep your foundation alive.
He must be doing something well, because since this morning, donations have been coming in on a pretty steady rate. I'm pretty amazed by it.
It's because you're a crook.
I'm
paying for these fancy vacations.
I don't think I've been to Disney World 54 times, and it's like a 3-hour drive. It seems like a lot. Are you going 3 times a year? Like, when did you start
There were times when I was working in cheetah conservation, yes, that I was going 3 and 4 times a year.
I feel like after number 38, I'd be like,
Yeah.
I think I got
No,
it.
no, let me tell you
Hey,
something,
there's
brother.
a tiger.
Let me tell you something, brother. Africa never disappoints. No two trips have ever been the same. There's always something that happens on each trip. I don't know if Dan told you about the time we're sitting there. We're following this pride of lions, okay? 3 females, like 7 cubs, and all of a sudden we're in the brush and we hear boom, boom. Sounds like horses coming behind me. And I just look behind me, and here comes this Impala running right by the truck, literally where you can touch the truck, and literally 15, 20 feet behind it, here comes this lioness. She's running through right after. She blows right by us in the truck. That's never happened to me before. It was so great because, Dan's not the most demonstrative guy when it comes to emotion. But I looked at him and he looked at me. We kind of went, holy shit, that was unbelievable.
It's like Dead and Company. It's why I follow them. Every experience is different. I mean, listen, I saw Bertha in the second set. I've been to 180 shows. I have never seen Bertha coming out of drum space second set. They did it at the Sphere. That's why I continue to go.
You need to do one of these. A Stugotz at the Sphere lives life the biggest way through psychedelics. You need to do one. It's a great character.
I'd love to take Stugotz on a safari like this. I would laugh my ass off the first time. Can you imagine, Dan, that time we walked in the path and right in front of us is an elephant? Can you imagine Stugotz being there? Can you imagine that?
Who's paying, our listeners or?
I'll tell you what, Stugotz, I think I would pay out of my pocket to bring you over there just to be able to record your reactions to things you would be crying like a little girl.
I'll tell you what, I will do it if you come to Dead and Company with me at the Sphere and I can record you on mushrooms. Good?
Let's do all of that. Let's make all of that happen. Ron, rolling behind me on the screen here, you're an award-winning photographer, and I don't know, what do you guys want to know about this trip? Because it's clear that Ron is embezzling funds. It is clear that he is a corrupt county employee who is living the lavish lifestyle on the dime of all of our listeners who donate from all over the state because he manipulates them into giving him funds.
Ron, I was wondering, because traveling with friends is a very tricky game. It's a dangerous game. And so I am wondering, when you and Rita, you have some alone time, you're in the yurt, that's the Ritz-Carlton, when you guys are hanging out, is there anything Dan did throughout the week where you and Rita are saying to yourselves, hey, this Le Batard guy, enough. I'm tired of him. He keeps doing this. Is there anything that Dan did?
I got to tell you, no. I mean, Dan has some very strict dietary requirements that, he's doing for his health and doing things very well. And I thought, I was really concerned that they weren't going to be able to accommodate him with those dietary requirements, but he seemed to be doing very well. He seemed to be enjoying the food. I will tell you, I have had some of the most intimate and revealing conversations with Dan on this trip. When you're sitting out under the Milky Way watching shooting stars by a fire, it's incredible how the walls come down and you talk about things that you really never had a chance to talk about. So for me, this was an invigorating, inspiring, and a very emotional trip for many reasons, but not the least of which was being able to really have time with, my wife and Dan and his wife, and just sitting out there in the middle of nowhere with no computers, no television, listening to hippos in the background, listening to lions in the background, watching shooting. I'm telling you guys, it was a dream. It was a dream that I will never forget, and you couldn't pay me enough to not do it.
Boring answer. Dan, what did Ron do?
You think he's a big giant farter?
There has to be something.
What? Like this man.
No friends go on vacation for 2 weeks without getting tired of each other. I mean, come on.
No, I never got tired of them, but I'm sure they got tired of my insanity. I start squealing like a little girl sometimes, and I start talking to animals as I'm photographing them, and I'm sure I look like an idiot, and I'm very surprised that Dan didn't record me doing that. I did get a short recording I got to send to you guys of Dan doing a little dance on the Sunset Cruise. He's kind of doing a little dance as he's doing this thing, and it's actually pretty cool. I was seeing Dan kind of, let the guard down, and I was kind of moved by that, really. I think I should send you guys that clip.
Moved.
Look, this picture behind him is him, but there's another picture of him looking at the cheetah like he's thinking like it's going to kill him. His wife is in heaven. She's just the greatest animal lover on the face of the planet. But there's another one that if you see Dan looking at the cheetah, he's like, I'll kill you. I don't know. He's got this fear of God in him. You saw him feeding the ostrich. That was so hilarious because here you have this massive guy and these 2 ostriches coming over his shoulder. his face of panic is just the best. Man, I'll tell you, he let all the guards down. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Is it nice or is it boring? He's a little too wholesome with this, right? As he embezzles funds and spends riches all over Africa to help me and my wife to great romance under the stars. All of us stealing the listeners' money.
He's a genuinely nice person, and even though we've given him countless opportunities to undercut it, he's just super nice. That's who he is.
How many assistants did Dan bring?
Disappointing.
He didn't bring any assistance, but I will tell you something. Dan gets cold very easily. He doesn't like the cold. You've seen him in the morning. You would think we were in Antarctica. The guy was wrapped up in so many blankets with wool hat on his head. And I think at one point he said to me, this is the coldest I've ever been in my life. Look at his beautiful wife there. Look at that. 4 or 5 rhinos, literally they're within 10 feet of us right there with nothing between us. Where do you see 4 or 5 of the most highly endangered species in the world? Look at his wife. She's in heaven because she's actually connecting with this out there. This is the wild, baby. This isn't the zoo. This isn't Lion Country Safari. This is the wild. And we had experiences there. We saw animals. God, the thing with the painted dogs, with the leopards, with the lions, lion cubs. The lion would walk literally within 2 feet. Look at that shot. Oh, you blew the best shot. That shot of the lilac-breasted roller.
We blew the shot. We blew the shot.
There it is. Look at that shot. You know how hard it is to get that photograph, guys? You have any idea? Dan knew I got it, too. Dan said to me, he goes, I think you got it. I think you got it, because we were struggling to get that shot of that bird with its wings open. It was so incredible. Because, see, birds don't produce blue pigment. All that blue is caused by refracted light on the structure of the feather. And you have to get the bird to show the feather the right way so the light hits it. And it's a split second, man. Dan, all the tests, those things fly around so fast. But we got it, Dan. We got that shot, brother.
No one is as enthused as you are by this. They're looking at you. They don't see the art in it at all. They think you're...
It's a blue jay.
They think you're...
It's not a blue jay.
It's a blue jay.
Lloyd Mosby.
It's a lilac-breasted roller.
Joe Carter.
Oh, we can play that game for a while. Jesse Barfield.
Vernon Wells.
Dave Steve.
I don't know what the hell you guys are
Roy
talking about.
Halladay.
We're just naming Blue Jays. So.
Jack Morris.
Oh, jeez.
Ron Magill has also got an enormous number of baseball cards he's unwilling to sell that are part of his value and his endowment because he's a corrupt human being with giant vacations all over the world. People are making fun of me because I'm alleging that we stayed in tents, and I didn't approve that photograph or that video that reveals that there's a pool out back. And what kind of tent would that be with a pool? But the most interesting part of that is I think you would be right to be scared that there is an elephant there drinking from Ron Magill's pool.
How cool was that? How cool is that? Where do you go in the world where you're sitting there and all of a sudden an elephant walks up out of your yard and goes and starts drinking water out of your pool, man? I'm literally standing 15, 20 feet from this thing, videotaping and going, I can't believe this is happening. I was so beside myself. It was just remarkable.
This wasn't a joint pool. Everyone had their own pool.
No, everybody had their own pool. And the baby elephant.
This is ridiculous.
I mean, come on.
We are spending the listeners' money all over America to take a giant vacation where you take pictures at a tent, at a Four Seasons tent encampment. You and me just embezzling funds to
This is what our highlight team has been playing so hard for.
To gallivant around the world.
Joey Bats.
No, guys, no. These tents are incredible. But I have a wonderful partnership with the company Great Expectations. That tented camp that we're talking about with the person, look at that elephant looking at you in the eye, Dan. Look at that. You remember that guy? Came right up to the truck, looked at us, trying to scare us, trying to make us think that we're going to be afraid of him.
Oh, no, please. Do you guys have this video here? This is the most amazing thing. Maybe Ron has seen more.
This is like the strangest version of going over to your friend's house after they go on
That used to be
vacation
a
and
thing.
they force you to watch a 3-hour slideshow from it. All right, cool. I'm psyched.
We went to Tacoma.
You'd think after the 54th time the novelty would wear off some. I'm
it's
good.
It's not art, Ron. You're just taking pictures of birds all over the world.
And this one's upside down. Craig put it in there upside down. This is stupid. Anyway, here's the next one. That's when I had my finger over the camera. You remember that, hon? All right, just 2,700 more.
Cubs drinking at the same time, coming in there. We watched them, follow them up to the. Oh my God, where do you see that, guys?
On
These
Google.
are wild lions and they're
Animal
cubs.
Kingdom.
No, you don't see that.
I have no personal connection. I understand why you're thrilled because you actually took it, but for me, it might as well be a Google search.
You weren't able to move anybody with your shit pictures, you embezzler.
The pictures are too good.
Pictures.
If it was like a blurry selfie, I would feel more connection to it, but these are too professionally done. You're almost too good.
I'm a professional, Mike. That's my job. I mean, if you put me behind a microphone and what you're doing, producing a show, I would totally screw it up. I'd be a moron.
Look at the background right now behind Dan. What we have on the screen right now. That is a Windows 98 desktop. I have no connection to this.
You're 100% right. Yes.
It's a bull photo that could have been culled through artificial intelligence.
I don't want to see these nice photos. I want to see you like putting a fork and knife over your meal for the evening, like forgetting Sarah Marshall. Where's the cocktail hour?
Yeah. We were being.
I got those too, but I didn't think you guys want to see that.
That's what those are connection points. Otherwise, I'm just seeing like stock images. Yeah.
No, you're not seeing stock images. You're seeing freaking utopia. There we go. Look how happy Dan is.
There we go. That's great.
That's better.
It's so cold right there.
Put the fondue out, and we can do like 3 more hours of this.
Is that hair going into Dan's nose or out of Dan's nose?
Oh yeah, I had some tough times with the grooming in the roughing it in Africa.
Oh God.
Roy, I don't know if you have the feeling because you are the host or one of the hosts of the now champion hockey show that is sometimes on Fridays and is a raging success because the champions had an embarrassing parade while I was gone, right? It rained a ton. There was a lot of rain, and everyone laughed at Miami because there was apathy about the Panthers.
Well, Fort Lauderdale, yes. Everybody laughed at the fact that it was raining on parade. Yes.
Totally unfair, right? Totally unfair because the fan base is actually huge, and the championship felt as good as any. No,
there was thousands of people there, Billy. What are you talking about?
Not hundreds of thousands.
I didn't say hundreds I said thousands.
Yeah,
thousands.
I mean,
what are you snacking on, Roy?
This is a
chips,
strawberry PB&J little sandwich thing.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Roy likes the food around here.
Mm-hmm. He just likes food. I mean.
Well, he has for years, but he's gone from vending machines to just whatever muffins are in the cabinets.
And a plate full of bacon this morning I walked into. Just 7 strips of bacon on a plate.
So these are the OGs around here. This is the original crew here. This is the thing that built the empire that would conquer all in the fights for the new media age.
We're good, man.
Finally eating breakfast and getting fed legitimate food. Yesterday,
I can't tell which was that a presidential candidate. All right, I can't tell which one it is.
That's how I talk.
It's Nolan Ryan.
We gotta come together. Come on, man.
Please keep working on it. Please.
It's not terrible. I've heard worse. I've heard worse Bidens.
Who was that?
That was
you
Trump.
Know who that was.
No, I did
Come
recognize
the
him.
hands.
I recognize it wasn't just the hands. You can work on that. You succeed. You're
but
the next
do the
Shane
Trump
Gillis.
hands when you do your Biden impression, and I'm telling you, it would feel like it's a.
Come on,
it would
man.
totally throw
You're
me
the
off.
next Shane Gillis, Chris. You can do it as the everyman for comedy. Last night, evidently, Mike is saying we've built for a decade to get to last night, one of the greatest nights of his life. And during this night, okay, I saw Chris, and I don't know if Roy was doing this, but over here is sprouting some sort of Tony show with Taylor. And over there is sprouting some other pitch clock show with Jeremy Taché and David Sampson. And I felt like the OGs said, what are these bullshit shows? These bullshit shows that
Hey,
are
these bull shows are really exciting things that we got going around here. Now, the Taylor and Tony thing, that was basically an unboxing of the big game that dropped yesterday.
Settings
CFB
talk.
25.
Yeah.
They actually played a game. Kudos to Taylor for pulling off to
Chris said no kudos. Chris
kudos.
said they're not doing the hard work that is making good content. They're just playing a video game.
Well, Taylor sang that song. That was good.
Yeah, that's hard work.
Yeah,
But Dan, I have to tell you, like, I'm not interested in video games the way I once was. But people are interested in watching other people play video games.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
this
but
is
not
where
amazing.
we've
Not Tony and Taylor though.
Okay.
this
really
is where we've
problem.
aged out. We were going to do it with Twitch. Like what? Yes. Gamers,
Well,
we got late. We got to YouTube and gamers late. Yes.
I don't understand. Like, we have plenty of conventional stuff. Let some other people that are associated with this show take some hacks on the internet, and you can see some hacks as well as some OG cast members intertwine with what Tony has built out. The Tony Show returns on Wednesday. We're going to be playing a lot of retro games out there, not necessarily the new CFB 25 one, much to my dismay. And at the conclusion of it, we're going to have a DK best ball draft that we're all excited about. So it's going to be it's kind of like the Truman Show. It just follows Tony around for the entire night.
I was asked not to attend implicitly. They said, please do not come. Do not participate
Who?
in this in any way.
Tony doesn't want you to.
No, I was asked to stay away from this.
Billy, you would make it so much better.
Well, I was asked to stay away, and you know me, I'm a team player. If I'm asked not to come, I
only-
stay home.
If only there were more avenues for Billy to constantly undercut Tony while he's trying to create content.
Don't ask Billy not to go to something. I mean,
If you ask me not to go, trust me, I will oblige.
But why? I don't understand. This is a weird. It's a weird dynamic you and him have because he wants to make his way up in the business. It's a tough game right now.
He's doing his own thing with some stuff, some properties on our YouTube channel. So I'm very proud of Tony. And if he wants to indulge, because this is super self-indulgent, we're doing a best ball draft at the end of it, then let him do it around people that don't make his life miserable.
But they also ask everyone else in the office to come. Like, there's people's cousins that are just going to be there on air saying God knows what.
Again,
We're just
remember-
gonna
Oh, God,
let them
no.
live
Remember
at
what I
3
said?
a.m.
Oh,
and
no, wait a
things can
minute.
go loose.
That's a good show. You're right. That's a good show.
And you can hear it pretty much every day whenever Tony and Billy are in this studio together. No shortage of it.
Try
But
to
yes,
be supportive of people, you know. It's
well,
me.
last night was indeed one of the best nights of my life, and I know what you're saying, like you're exaggerating and everything on this show is so hyperbolic. No, genuinely, last night for me was a payoff of a decade-long angle that I've been working inside of my own family. I've been warning Cynthia that this day would come. It was on the horizon. I've been fooled before. I've had the rug pulled out from under me. I've had year-long delays, and all I wanted was my family to realize how important last night was going to be. Do not bother me. Give me this night. Your boy wants to sit on his gaming chair, suck on a Zyn, maybe have a beer or two, watch his friends play games, build out a dynasty, and he did that. At 4 o'clock, this game dropped, and you see the opening video, and you realize, holy they licensed Welcome to the Jungle. And you see all these great college football traditions. I don't know how this game managed to do it because the expectations for this game were sky high. And this isn't just placating to the gamers of today. It has to do that, but it also has to play into the nostalgia. This is a game that people are returning to gaming for. People that haven't gamed in a decade, people that have built their lives are totally different people, have gray in their beard now. They have been looking forward to this. I bought my PS5 2 years ago just so I could have it ready for yesterday, and Dan, it was magical. It delivered on every single aspect, and I can't tell my wife enough how much I love her for leaving me the alone last night. It was incredible.
What's your record?
Dude, that game is hard. It was a lot harder than it was 10 years ago. So we navigated a couple bumps in the road. Everybody has the same kind of takeaway. Like, we're worse at gaming, and this game is hard.
Heisman mode. Difficult.
Yeah. But I started my dynasty in earnest with my group of friends, 2-0 after beating the Fighting Pandas of FCS Southeast, and then put one on Troy. And gentlemen, it is FSU week now for your Memphis Tigers.
Mike has gone almost totally off the deep end, Stugotz. The pandemic has made it so he has become obsessed with every sport being played, snorting more sports that is humanly sane or reasonable if you're trying to live a healthy, complete, and joyous life. Mike is buried in all manner of sports, and yesterday a fake game came into his life, and it was honored by Tony and Taylor.
And it's a real game.
No, I'm just saying, yes, of course it's a real game.
But
it's
not
a video
real life.
game, right?
But
not
for
real
me,
life.
there
yes.
is nothing more real than the relationships I'm building inside of my online dynasty.
Yeah.
Really?
I was up till 1:30 in the morning watching someone else's UNLV running Rebels go through a huge quarterback controversy. Wow. I was assured that both quarterbacks were told they were going to play. So it's not as bad as it seemed over there. But I got an eye on all 7 of us right now, and plenty of people want to hop on for Season 2 of the Dynasty, which, if we keep tracking this way, will probably be later today.
I am told that Tony blew an 11-point lead with just under 2 minutes to go.
Heartbreaking.
With the Hurricanes against North Carolina.
Oh, that's what they do.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Now,
Mike's wearing his used stuff now. He's breaking news left and right. He's a player in this game.
Hurricanes fans, rest assured, there's plenty of players missing from this roster, but I've been told that nearly a dozen are going to be available in the next update. We need some help in that
Hold on a second.
secondary.
I thought you were a Memphis guy now.
I am Memphis in this digital life, but I'm putting the UM Insider
all
donor
in.
hat right now, and this is a Venn diagram because I'm talking about the game.
You're
Don't
a
worry.
Tiger or you're not a Tiger.
They'll be
That's
in.
what I always say.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why Tony didn't want you a part of this.
Taylor did say on the stream that Mike Ryan could be seen walking out of the stadium after Miami lost in that game.
Wow.
It's good banter, solid banter.
It's part of the game.
We like the banter.
EA Sports. It's in the
Chris.
game.
It's in the game.
Chris, did you or did you not say you tuned in to Taylor and Tony for 90 seconds and you bailed? Not good enough.
I was in the chat. I was trying to help out. But I had to go somewhere.
That's fine. That's
You
The
turned
problem-
it on and
people
walked
can.
away,
You can.
right?
Most people do that with the Twitch stream.
I think the
90
problem
seconds, it all
is-
counts. That's a
Sent
view.
one
Thank you.
message.
There were lots of like celebrities doing the same thing at the same time, were there not? Like a lot of people were doing
Huge.
this.
Why watch Sketch when you could watch Taylor and Tony?
I got to tell you, like, I anytime the old school shipping container gets around with like Dan and Stugotz, I get excited. But this was the first time I was genuinely sad to see it because I could not share my excitement with anybody on the cast. Yesterday, people could meet me
trying,
there.
Mike.
And no, I appreciate the
I'm
effort.
excited at the idea of the game. I just don't have all these hours to play it.
No,
And
but
I'm gonna
this is-
I don't have them either.
$500, $600 on a gaming system to get it.
Billy, I don't have
I've aged.
well. Yes, on the gaming system because I think that purchase is worth it. And what I felt last night made it all worthwhile. All the times I felt old. My account got hacked. How do I fix this? What do you mean I need to buy a gift card to unlock it? I was hacked. I'm the victim. What? They don't sell hard copies anymore? What do you mean I need a headset? All of it. All of it was made worth it last night. I still felt old, but I felt nostalgic and I felt camaraderie, and the game was there for me. The game... The previous edition was there for so many people during the pandemic. It had a resurgence. This game matters to so many people, and I'm so thankful that EA nailed it.
But when you're playing against somebody who is sitting in their own living room, right? They're not sitting with you. Is that because
I'm
that's
playing again right now? My enemy is a computer, but I
Okay.
do have a couple of user-scheduled games on
See,
Dynasty mode.
I hate that. When you play video games, both of you need to be in the same location. I need to be on a couch. You need to be on the
Stugotz,
same
you're
couch.
very late to
We need to
this.
do bong hits.
Stugotz.
We need to play Frogger.
Playing Pong. Yeah.
Frogger, Stugotz.
Oh, it's a
this
great
is, this
game.
is
It's
how
a
you're.
classic.
This is how
I
you're-
do miss that aspect
Thank
of it.
you.
And then there's lag, and everyone will say you have to hardwire it, but not both people can be hardwired. Some people don't even hardwire anymore. It's all I've learned so much. But it's totally fine, and you can. I found now that these gaming systems have these party modes, and I was just hanging out till like 1:30. I felt so young and so old at the exact same time. It was a beautiful night.
Okay.
it was incredible.
Please, before I get to this other show with Taché and Sampson that I think Chris Cody doesn't think should exist.
Oh.
You support this show? Okay. Regardless, you
I'm
guys
on it.
You guys, look.
Nobody wants to support side projects around here. It's very disheartening.
Mike Ryan is saying, in the cynical age of it's impossible to meet our discerning standards, where all we do is make jokes on the internet at every single thing, you're telling me that a video game has been unleashed. This is the one where Chris Fowler does 1,000,000 miles of AI for.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I haven't built my program up to get a Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit game yet. I'm still with Reese and David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, but I'm hoping for FSU week, which my AD has announced is going to be a whiteout game. Wow. We get the national television crew.
Aren't you the AD?
No, I've hired somebody.
Don't you have any ACC news to break in this segment?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and the FSU, there was so much smoke coming out from FSU last month that they felt so good. They were going to the Big Ten, and then I called a couple of sources that know what's going on with the Big Ten and a couple of other ACC sources, and I was essentially laughed away from the phone because of how ridiculous that notion would be. But it does seem like FSU is hell-bent on getting out of the ACC, no matter what it costs them. And I think a lot of schools are waiting around, rooting for them, establish the precedent. You pay the money. And you have a situation here, if Brett Yormark's comments over the Big 12 media day or
another
any kind of,
Yormark, another one of them.
Yeah,
They'll
you know
never
what?
go away, Dan.
Brett Yormark.
How did that happen?
Well, they're twins. Brett Yormark came into the Big 12. It was in a dire situation. Everyone thought it would die. He did save the Big 12. The Big 12 was in better position and essentially killed the Pac-12 after the big teams left to the Big 10. Big 12 picked up the pieces. They are very aggressive. Credit to him, and you may disagree with the means and how he goes about doing things, but he's an ass kicker. And now he is potentially turning to private equity, which is dangerous because private equity, in some cases, these might be loan sharks. And you have a situation where FSU is also turning to private equity. And that's a bit of a dicey proposition, but I do wish FSU well, hopeful that they can establish some sort of legal precedent to get out of the ACC.
I wish FSU well.
I
what
do.
kind of way is that to go
I
into
do,
the
because
rivalry?
I'm not a fan of the ACC whatsoever. I think that they've taken a back seat to all of this, and you're seeing what an aggressive leader can do by just merely saving the Big 12. Brett Yormark just strolled into this sport and showed more cojones than anyone in the ACC has shown in several years. But I am hopeful that you take this year, you play it out, and as we inch more and more towards a Super League, hopefully, and that the NCAA doesn't get safe harbor status, that you can have a totally different college football landscape almost every year for the next 3 years. It's pretty wild.
The ACC ripped off by Skipper.
Yeah, he signed a bad deal. Well, great deal for him. Bad deal for his Tar Heels.
Well, no, great, yes. Okay, so
Great deal. Like the best deal maybe ever in sports media. That ACC ESPN deal.
But bad for his school.
But terrible for his Tar Heels. Just totally nuked his Tar Heels, though they're probably best position out of any of the schools.
you are telling me, I just want to get this straight, that the CEO of our company, when I've told you, athletic directors, some of the least impressive people in the world, look how late it took them to figure out at the top of leadership. Hey, let's rip everyone off for all the money. It should all be independent. It's been a giant unjust scam for a really long time. Nobody knows it. Let's just steal it. Here comes private equity. Let's just buy all the players. Let's just buy it. Let's have Texas's quarterbacks come out to Lamborghinis in recruiting because now we're throwing around giant dollars because everyone can see the business of television. Good God, it pays.
Let's codify a collectively bargain, not really, settlement and say, no, 80-20 is a split forever. Us bureaucrats get to stay in power. And also, safe harbor status, nobody can tell us anything. And even though we've at every turn tried to undercut NIL, we're now in charge of it. It's all subjective now. Have fun. No, thank you. No, thank you, NCAA. And if you've seen the language, they're only turning the temperature up on it. It needs to be stopped.
But I can't believe that you're saying here, Mike, that with all of the cynicism of the internet howling at expectations for bring me back the nostalgia of this game, it met and exceeded your discerning standards for I've been waiting for this night all my life, and it's even better than I imagined.
Because the hype around this game got so out of hand that it's almost impossible to meet expectations because people's memory of this game, I guarantee you, if your last memory of NCAA 14 was exactly back then when you played it, you still talk in such glowing terms that if you open that game right now, you probably wouldn't recognize it, and you'd ask yourself, why did I love this game so much? It's kind of like how you would feel about Frogger. You'd swear up and down, Frogger, I don't need all these graphics. Well, I think that's the first time I said that. But Donkey Kong, any of that stuff, like you have these emotional connections.
You're saying that I
game.
wouldn't want the enhanced Frogger until I saw the enhanced Frogger.
Yeah. Now
Right.
imagine they came out with a brand new Frogger. Now I've said Frogger multiple times.
Right.
And it came out and it gave you all that
Such
joy.
a bad game.
There
all
have been
those
like
feelings.
3D Froggers and stuff that are not as good.
It's not
like
as
you
good.
want the original.
I like
Don't
the
hate on
original.
Frogger.
Yeah.
I like the
It's
original.
such a
Exactly
bad
right.
It goes
game.
without saying.
No, it's a great game. Get
This
outta
Frogger's
here.
a great
know.
game.
We play
What are you
Frogger
talking
every
about?
morning.
Now this is a next
Crossing
gen.
the street, getting
Thank you.
There's no burger time.
What?
Burger
Since
time.
Dan mentioned that, there have been 17 Froggers said.
Yeah.
It was like
What do you mean
wildly
you played
predicted.
Frogger? Why did you play? You
Oh,
played
we have to run through traffic. to
Yeah,
get
they
here.
run
Yeah.
through traffic because they park
Yeah.
across the street. It's real life
Yeah.
Frogger. It's a dangerous game.
Dangerous game.
Which somebody
high
actually
risk
tried-
Frogger.
Wasn't Frogger like a Kyle Brandt show for like a
I
moment
think
in
so.
time during?
I
Oh
think
yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
yes.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That was 10 questions.
It was okay.
What?
Yeah, there was a
It was
Frogger
okay.
game show.
But Kyle Brandt's 10 questions was
Yeah.
just okay.
No, the Frogger game. It didn't get
game.
renewed, so I
Guys,
don't
the
think
show's
it's. I'm not
moving
going out
very
on a
fast.
limb saying it wasn't
He just
great.
got back from Africa. Stop confusing
Kyle
him.
Brandt?
We got Trump impressions that sound like Biden. We got Biden impressions that sound like Trump.
Wait, hold on. Kyle
Chris
Brandt
has to say it's Biden.
Brandt went with you to Africa.
I believe his Trump is improving.
You know who I am, man.
I didn't
Well,
know.
who was
No, I had no idea who that was.
I have no clue.
I did not know who that was. Chris, we need you. It's going to be a tough 4 months, man.
You really think a 77-year-old is going to strike us out? Because that's crazy.
Not strike you out.
You're just going to foul tip off a 77-year-old. I mean, can we even paint the strike zone? You know, I'm kind of at 77. It's not a crazy question to ask.
I want you to set it up.
How do I do
am
that?
now
Get
challenging
Nolan
You
Ryan
want us to get
down
Nolan,
here?
the Ryan
We
Express to
couldn't
come
even
down here?
schedule
I
us
mean,
swimming against each other. We're not going to Nolan Ryan here.
Chris, you said he was throwing how hard, and when was he throwing it? Like he was.
At age 63, so 14 years ago, his top speed was 85.
Okay, so he's probably down to what, mid-70s?
I can't hit 85. I'll tell you. I'll be honest.
But how
I
about
bet he's
mid-70s?
mid-70s.
Mid-70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, mid-70s.
Mid-70s is like an average high school baseball player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't hit him.
We now have in the Elser, I believe, the ability to use a basketball court. Can you guys prove to me any semblance of athleticism somewhere in this building? You just threw out there a second ago we couldn't organize a swim meet. We were trying to organize a
spoiler
swim
alert,
meet.
that's going to happen, I think.
Billy just informed me we were doing a swim meet.
Maybe that was one place, like the one location may have gotten canceled, but we're still
Mike, are you on
efforting.
your phone?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening right
What's
now.
happening in
Well,
the AAC, the
no.
digital AAC, or the real ACC? I'm confused now.
No, the commissioner's going to advance a week.
Wait, what?
What?
We're going to get to week 3 after everyone's done
Oh, I
recruiting.
see.
Oh,
In
yeah.
real
yeah.
life or
Well, ball is live.
no video game? Got it.
You can send them a DM, but it'll cost you 5 hours.
Frogger had one season. It was Kyle Brandt and Damon Wayans.
Yeah. Damon Wayans underrated. Top 10 weigh-ins easily.
Oh, yeah. Even though there was like 7 of them.
You guys want to try that list? Because I don't think we would do very well at the top 10 weigh-ins as a show. I think we would get stuck at, what, 4?
Well, our
5?
thing's top 5, and then we'll have OLIs. Keenan Ivory, OLI.
I'll take
What?
That's gotta be.
What?
I would take Kim, OLI.
Really? No, I have Kim at 5.
Kim's probably a 5, yeah.
The Tracy Chapman thing on the Living Color still holds up. All right, we're out.
Mullen,
No Wayans.
Sean.
There it is. Stugotz with a finger gun toward Mike Ryan.
Mike gave me one. I gave him one.
No way.
It's moving fast,
What
but
he
I'm there.
threw out there lazily while I
man.
think trying to pull a cigarette out of his shorts.
Who do you guys rank higher, Damon or Damon Jr.?
Oh, Damon.
I was actually in my phone
Really?
because Dan said set it up, and I wanted to quickly say like the setup guy for the world champion Kansas City Royals just to really make this segment confusing, but tie it all together. And I lost the name because even though I care about more sports than I ever have, baseball, not so much.
Eric Hosmer on a future edition of South Beach Sessions.
Great beard.
It's
Great
a good
promotion.
It's a good get.
Not in the Royals.
That
was
Hey,
Biden. That was Biden,
Bo
right?
Jackson
Who is that?
That was Trump.
Oh,
I was just informed
man.
by executive. Who was that?
If I say man at the end, it was Biden.
that's a cue.
You just don't get it. You really don't. None of you get it.
Better.
That's Biden.
I want to do my Pierce Brosnan impression so bad, but Dan got bothered by it.
We need a Trump. We don't need a Pierce Brosnan.
You don't need a 1997 Dante's Peak version of limited fake Pierce Brosnan in which he says essentially 4
I
words.
miss the limited fake so much.
Town on alert.
All right, Mike, I'm going to need you to leave for the rest of the show.
What?
That's
it.
fair,
I'm
actually.
sorry.
I
Get
get
out
it.
of here.
I get it.
I
More
told him
recruitment
not
me,
to
man.
do that.
Who's Craig Wayans?
That's Robert Kennedy.
I can play remotely on the app now.
Just leave. All right, just go leave.
Who is Craig?
Go play video games. Go play video games for the rest of your life.
I'm not going nowhere, man.
Please leave.
I'm staying right here.
That's Biden.
I don't care if you want me to leave. I'm staying.
He said, man.
Get it? It's an election joke.
Right.
I don't care how many of you want me to leave. I'm staying. I'm Joe Biden, man.
That was Biden.
That was Biden.
It said his name.
And man.
Yeah. The name gave it away that time, though.
Yeah.
Why were you a Roomba before?
That's the way he walks around the stage after a
Right.
speech.
All right. Look, we're competing against Colin Cowherd, and up on his graphic is Josh Allen overrated?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a question.
I saw Josh Allen in Tahoe, and he asked me, how's that Billy Gill doing?
Oh, wow.
I swear I called Billy right afterwards. Yes. He said it, lovingly.
By name, or he's like, who's that old guy that said that about me?
I mean, he did. Billy was flattered
Said
by it.
a-hole?
Well, he yes.
Did any of it happen? Did you see Josh?
Yeah, I have his number, too. He'll be on next week.
So, Billy, there's no relationship there. It's just a bunch of Stugotz scam smoking.
It was a
there.
walk by head nod.
Hold on a second. Did you do the thing where you texted him and you saw that he got your number, or a fake number situation?
No, he gave me the number. I texted him mine. He said, I got it.
Yeah, I did that to someone who was standing in the street offering to sell new roofs. I thought I was just taking a paper from them, helping them out, and then they asked me for my contact info, so I gave them my wife's phone number off a digit.
Oh.
And if they figure it out, they call my wife.
A coward move off a digit. What do you mean? Oh, no. The weakest scam ever.
Hey everyone, welcome to our new baseball segment, The Pitch Clock. I'm Jeremy. I'll be your host every week. And here's the pitch. Essentially, every single week we will have a baseball-themed segment where we will be playing a nostalgic trivia game with a member of the shipping container and potentially our baseball expert. We actually do have our expert today. I'll get to him in a second.
Hello.
And we will also have an interview with an expert every single week. We'll be going back and forth between those two things to force feed you modern baseball information in between our fun trivia game. Taylor is our producer. He has our game. And our expert is here with us, Mike Schur. Thank you for joining me and Chris Cody today on the very first episode of The Pitch Clock. Taylor, why don't you go ahead and let us know what the trivia game we are playing today
But wait,
will
we've
be.
done this before. This isn't the first one.
No, we had 2 pilot episodes, Chris. Those are exclusively on YouTube. This is the first time they're hearing us in the podcast feed. Mr. Executive Producer, this is the very first time.
Off to a great start,
Wait,
guys.
We crushed those.
Yeah, we did, and they're on YouTube.
Okay.
And you could go back and watch those if you'd like. But this is the first time
I
that
whooped
we're
that ass.
playing this game on the actual show. Chris,
go-
this is exciting.
Go check it out.
Mike Schur is here.
I whooped that ass last game.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I've got Mike Schur as a minus 2,000 favorite today because the game is a draft.
Oh, you're going to pander to him.
That'll
for sure
be
here.
5 rounds.
It's a draft.
And you're drafting players based on most seasons on the All-Star Game roster.
Whoa.
So if your player has been an All-Star 5 seasons, that's 5 points.
Okay.
And at the end, whoever has the most points after 5 rounds wins the game. It's pitch clock
Whoa.
rules, so you have 20 seconds per pick.
All right, I go first.
Yep, pitch clock rules.
I called it.
Chris Cody can go first. Mike Schur, you'll go second, and I'll round things out picking third, and we'll just keep going in an order like that.
What's Mike Schur looking at right now? Looks like he's looking at some cute
I don't think he should be Googling anything.
I'm not Googling anything, I promise.
right.
I'm not Googling anything.
I don't think he needs to. All right, Chris, with the very first pick, you're going to have 20 seconds on the clock. Who is your first pick?
Derek Jeter.
All right, Derek Jeter off the board.
Wait, this is just all time? This isn't like 90s or anything. This is just all time.
This is all time. So, Mike, you have 20 seconds on the clock. Who will be your first
Derek
pick?
Derek Jeter also, I'm allowed to say it, and then I'll tell you at the end the results. Derek Jeter had 14 All-Star Game
This is a
appearances.
game called Name the Best Players in Baseball History.
Well, it's important to know how many All-Star games they made.
Mike Schur, your pitch clock has started.
Willie Mays.
All right,
It's a great pick.
that's
Second
a really
on the
good
board.
pick.
Willie Mays, 20 All-Star Game appearances.
Damn it.
Oh boy. Okay,
I thought I had a good pick.
I will pick Mariano Rivera.
13.
That's where I was going to go next, actually.
And now to the interview portion of the pitch clock. We've kicked Chris Cody out. We've moved over to Studio B, and now we test Mike Schur's actual baseball knowledge of modern Major League Baseball. Mike, thank you for lending your expertise here as we approach the MLB All-Star Game tonight on Tuesday. I want to know, through this point of the season, do you have a team in the American League and a team in the National League that has surprised you most in this first half of Major League Baseball?
Yeah, there's a lot of surprising teams, I would say. In the American League, ironically, it's my own favorite team. It's the Red Sox. I predicted the Red Sox would be basically what they were last year, which is like a game under 500. And they're currently sitting in wild card slot number 3 in the American League. They're hitting much better than I think anybody thought they would. They've had a ton of injuries, and they're still playing really well. Also, their defense is atrocious. It is truly unpleasant to watch this team play defense. I think they have 10 more errors than any other team in the American League currently. And that doesn't begin to tell the story of how bad they are. They are butchers defensively. And yet they're 11 games over 500 and in contention after ownership did essentially nothing at all in the offseason to help them. So that's been a really pleasant surprise. The other team in the American League that was surprising to me was the Astros because they sucked really badly for the first couple months of the season. And a lot of people wrote their obituary, including me. And now they've just been like annoyingly doing that Astros thing they do, which is like winning and chipping away and winning series and pitching better and hitting better. And Bregman came alive, and now they're right on the Mariners' heels. And as much as I want to think that the Mariners can hold them off and make a run, because it would be really fun to have the Mariners make a World Series run, I think that they're doomed. I think the Astros are going to catch them. And that's a bummer, because who wants to see the Astros in the playoffs again?
Especially when you could have a Mariners run. I mean, they're one of the more fun teams in baseball to watch.
Yeah, Mariners, they have a bunch of fun players, and they've never won a World Series. They're the Padres of the American League, and I was really thinking maybe this would be the year that the Astros kind of fell apart in this core. Altuve and Bregman and Yordan Alvarez and those guys would just kind of fall apart, and maybe the Mariners could ascend to the AL West throne. But I don't know, man. I mean, those are the good on the good side. Those are the teams, and the Royals, who are hanging in, although they look a little shaky recently.
All right, Chris.
Alex Rodriguez.
It's a good pick. 14. Back-to-back 14.
You guys
Schur?
are blowing this. You guys are blowing this so hard. Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron was number 1. 21 All-Star appearance.
Big shocker.
There were fewer teams. There were fewer players. I don't know why I'm telling you this. All
right, time to go back in time.
There was a reason why he was a minus 2,000 favorite.
Trying to think of anyone from that era. Who were the greatest home run hitters? Who were the great? How about? Oh, this is gonna be a weird. How about Stan Musial?
That's a good pick.
Tied with Willie Mays.
All right. Who has been to you not the biggest surprise, but the most entertaining team in baseball to watch this year?
My favorite two teams to watch who aren't the Red Sox are the Orioles and the Phillies. Orioles, because they've got so many guys that are 25, call it, and under, who just look like world-beating future Hall of Famers. Like that, everybody knows about Henderson, who if it weren't for Judge would be a runaway MVP candidate this year. He might still win it. Like, he plays a more important position, and he's mashing the ball at nearly the same rate that Judge is. Although Judge is just ridiculous,
otherworldly.
But yeah, just so unpleasant, just so deeply unpleasant that Aaron Judge plays for the Yankees. But Rutschman is every bit as good as everybody thought he would be. They have so many guys, Colton Cowser and Heston Kierstad, and all these really young players who are essentially doing what everyone thought they would do when they tanked. Look, they tanked for 8 years or whatever. They did what they ran the process in baseball, and it's paying off. Like, they have all these guys who are super young and really, really good, and that makes them super fun to watch. Jordan Westburg, who's like the 9th most interesting guy of that crop, has 15 homers at the break. Like, they have a ton of those guys. And then the Phillies, to me, are just like the most joyous team to watch. Like, they have like Bryce Harper was the perfect guy for that team, because they have like an extremely Phillies vibe to them. Like they're just like Philly as a city and that team of dudes is perfectly suited for each other. It's a little bit misleading how good they were in the first half because they had the easiest schedule, I think, in baseball over the first couple months. And I was a little skeptical that they were actually as good as they appeared to be. But they're still playing really well, and the Braves obviously have had catastrophic injury luck with Acuna going down, but also everyone on that team is hitting worse by like 150 OPS points than they did last year. Everyone is down. Olsen is down, and Ozzy Albies is down. They're all weirdly worse. Mm-hmm. And because of that, the Phillies have an 8.5 game lead. They have the best run differential in baseball, I think, as of yesterday. And they're just kind of sailing right through. And I mean, right now, I would say the betting favorite to come out of the National League, even above the Dodgers. They handled the Dodgers really easily in that series recently. And they just look really great. And nothing would make me happier, except leaving the Red Sox aside, nothing would make me happier than the Phillies actually winning a title with this team because they're so fun to watch.
Chris, your third pick.
I'm feeling very rattled. By the way, this has gone so far. I thought I had good answers, and it's not going well for me. Babe Ruth.
Terrible pick. Two.
What? Two?
All-Star Game didn't exist.
Come on.
Smaller league, Mike. I thought it was a smaller league.
It was a smaller league, but you got to know when the All-Star Game started.
You got to know when the All-Star Game started, man.
I was praying that somebody said Babe Ruth, and Chris Cody fell right into the
trap. He fell into the trap.
Okay. Rod Carew.
Oh, man.
That's a good pick. Oh, it's a good pick. 18.
18 All-Star games for Rod Carew.
Babe Ruth had 2.
Hall of Famer Rod Carew. Okay. I'm trying to think. I do have 20 seconds on the clock, so I can stall.
Yep.
For my third pick, I'm trying to go back to that era.
Oh, God. I hope no one picks my guy.
Maybe I stick with...
They probably will.
I'm a little worried here. Can I... How about Ozzie Smith?
Baseball Reference 15.
All right. I'll take it. I'm going to be happy coming in second
pick.
place here if Mike Schur's in first. I mean, you just had 2. That's going to make it a little bit
Chris,
difficult. And by the way, through 3 rounds, Chris has selected Derek Jeter, A-Rod, and Babe Ruth. Mike Schur has selected Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, and Rod Carew. I've selected Mariano Rivera, Stan Musial, and Ozzie Smith. We are in the 4th of 5 rounds now. Chris Cody, who's your 4th pick?
We'll keep a running theme here. Manny Ramirez.
Manny Ramirez.
12.
All right.
All right. That's not terrible.
I did that for comedy.
I'm going to say, Taché, you had the right idea, but you picked
never made the All-Star game.
I picked the wrong one.
You picked the wrong shortstop.
I did.
It's got to be Ripken.
That was who I was going to go to next.
It's Ripken as 19.
No!
The 4th best.
Why did I do
that?
that? My headphones came out. I'm devastated. Oh, that's 19. Oh, my God. Ripken. All right. Well, this feels kind of over. I'm going to go with Roger Clemens.
I will fact check it. Roger
That's got to be good.
11.
11. That's not great. It's okay. Mike, the final question of our interview here for you. A couple weeks before the deadline. I know we're celebrating the All-Star Game tonight, but a couple of weeks before the trade deadline, I'm wondering, are there any teams that you look at that you think are competitive, are playoff teams, but you could see them making a move that could then catapult them into actual World Series contention? And if so, what would that move be? Who would you like to see them target?
Well, yeah, there's a lot, obviously. I mean, the Orioles don't really need to do anything, but I think they will because I think they sense blood in the water. The Yankees have been pretty bad in the last month or two. They have a ton of prospects that they can trade that they don't really need. And, I don't know who the pitchers are who are going to be available, but I think the Orioles right now are one really good starting pitcher short of being a real World Series contender. I think they'll do something in the pitching market. I think the Guardians are very quietly sailing right on through with the best record in the American League.
Yep.
I don't think anyone, including me, really buys them as a World Series team yet. I think they need some help. Then there's the teams like, there's like the Brewers. Like, do the Brewers do something? The Brewers are likely going to win the NL Central, but what are the betting odds for the Brewers to make the World Series right now? Like, I don't think anyone thinks they're better than the Phillies or the Dodgers. I don't think anyone thinks they're honestly better than the Braves, even in the Braves weekend conditions. So I think the contenders, those three contenders, I would imagine will try to do something. The bigger question for me is these marginal teams,
right?
The Twins, the Red Sox, like the Cardinals, the Padres, these like marginal teams, are they buyers or sellers? It's the same question every year. I think I can tell you right now that if the Red Sox became sellers, there would be a rebellion in greater New England because the ownership did nothing to help this team in the offseason. They announced, the actual phrase they used was, we're going full throttle. And apparently full throttle meant do nothing. Just absolutely stand pat. And against all odds, they're in playoff contention. So I think you're going to see them do something. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of teams that feel like they're in playoff contention, but kind of know that they're not really better than the best teams in the league. I think most of those teams will sense that it's a seller's market and are going to bail and kind of unload a bunch of veterans, because I think that there are a lot of I think the Orioles, the Guardians, potentially the Mets, who were still hanging around, are more desperate to make the playoffs than some of these other mid-market teams, the Royals and the Rangers and the whoever. So I think you're going to see I'm predicting a lot of movement, and I think a lot of movement from the marginal teams to the contenders. I think the contenders are all going to go for it. And I hope that's true, because there's nothing more fun than an exciting trade deadline day. It's like the most fun thing in sports.
Does Mike have like 4 of the 5 best top answers?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's right, nailing the entire top of the board. And just so we know, through 4 rounds, we're about to enter round number 5 through 4 rounds. Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, Babe Ruth, and Manny Ramirez on Chris's side here. Mike Schur has Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Rod Carew, and Cal Ripken Jr. And I have Mariano Rivera, Stan Musial, Ozzie Smith, and Roger Clemens. It sort of feels like this is already solidified. But Chris, why don't you go ahead and with your 5th pick?
Like taking a pitcher is just not the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Randy Johnson.
What?
Randy Johnson, 10.
All right. That's not bad.
Slow and steady. That's me playing this
game.
All
right.
Mike,
why did you say that taking a pitcher wasn't the way, and then take a pitcher?
Because I was like, I'm already it's the 5th pick. Like I'm already out of it. Like
comedy, Mike.
Yeah, comedy.
Speaking of Mike Schur, who's your 5th pick?
All right, I'm going hometown. I'm going Red Sox. The question is it Yaz or Williams? And because Williams lost 5.5 years to 2 different wars, I am going to say that it is the 23-year career of Carl Yastrzemski provided more All-Star games.
Yastrzemski, 18.
Oh, my
absolute
gosh.
clinic right now.
You just put on a clinic. All right, well, I guess I'll go with your other guess. Ted Williams.
Loser.
Ted Williams was a very good pick. 17.
17, all right.
I don't like any of this.
All right, well, I think I know the answer here. But Taylor, you want to give us the math on who ultimately won this game? Just rounding it out, if we look at the teams.
Babe Ruth, though.
One time for Babe Ruth. How about that?
We can all agree should have been more than 2
Sultan
times,
the SWAT.
Right? We can all agree on that?
More nicknames than All-Star appearances. Derek Jeter, A-Rod, Babe Ruth, Manny Ramirez, and Randy Johnson. That's Chris's team. Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Rod Carew, Cal Ripken Jr., and Carl Yastrzemski for Mike Schur, and Mariano Rivera, Stan Musial, Ozzie Smith, Roger Clemens, and Ted Williams for yours truly. Taylor, what were our point totals?
The final tally in 3rd place with 52, Chris Cody.
Chris Cody, clap it up.
I'm trying to find a good 3-time All-Star.
In 2nd place, Jeremy Taché, 76.
All right, I'll take it.
And in 1st place, again, a clinic, Mike Schur, 96.
Wow.
If you look at the big board, it was Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Stan Musial, Cal Ripken Jr., Rod Carew, and Carl Yastrzemski.
Oh my God! So he got,
I got
5
5 out of 6.
That's insane. How did you do that? That's ridiculous. At least I got one of them.
When Willie Mays died, the thing that everybody said was he had the all-time record for most All-Star appearances with 24, tying Hank Aaron, I think, or whatever, or 21 tying or beating Hank Aaron or whatever.
That's
so it was like
amazing.
those 2 picks were easy, and then Yaz played forever, and Ripken played forever, and like made every All-Star game on reputation alone. So, and I just picked guys who had 23-year careers who were Hall of Famers, and figure that was the way to go.
Congratulations on putting on a clinic. You not only have expertise in the modern game, but you also have expertise here in all of Major League Baseball history. I'm just proud because the gap between me and you was smaller than the gap between me and Chris Cody. So I'm going to go ahead and group us together on this one as opposed to
I think former Red Sox third baseman Scott Cooper made 2 All-Star games, so the same number as Babe Ruth.
That's ridiculous. Scott Cooper and Babe Ruth, same category here.
Jeremy Taché returns to the show. You just heard his baseball segment there, and I appreciate you following the sport, so I don't have to.
You're very welcome.
And it's a Midsummer Classic. It's a big deal. You probably covered this. I'm not going to listen, so I'm asking you directly. Did they change anything about the home run derby? Was it like a...
Whoa, I recorded it. Spoiler alert.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you about the structure of it without spoiling it for you. Does that work?
No, it's boring. You can just talk about it.
Okay.
What was it? Yeah, what did they do? Did they do anything differently?
Yeah, so the first...
Was anyone annoyed with it? Because we did this entire show, and this is all a bridge to get to the worst national anthem of all time. Right. Trust me, we'll cover that here in this post-game show. But everybody that I knew that was in my circle was consumed with the video game dropping last night, and I have never heard less about a home run derby, so much so that I don't even know what the rule changes might possibly be, if there were any at all.
So there were rule changes, as there kind of seem to be every single year with the home run derby. It feels like they're constantly trying to tweak it, but it was actually super competitive and really entertaining. The first round, every single hitter was not in a bracket. They were just competing against each other. So it was 8 hitters, and they had either 3 minutes or 40 pitches, which when you work out the amount of time, it's just about the same. The reason they kept it to 40 pitches was just so that you didn't have anybody basically speed swinging through the entire thing, able to out-homer somebody else.
It ended up seeming unnecessary, but that was just to make sure that no one got too many swings.
It was guaranteeing that everybody had the same amount of pitches that they could see. And I think what that did is it made the pitchers that much more important, because it wasn't outs.
It was the most important pitchers have ever been.
I'm out on that, because this contest, as long as I've seen it, isn't so much about how far you can hit the ball and how consistently you can do that. It's how good your pitcher is.
It does help. Look, having a good pitcher really matters in this one, and you saw multiple examples. Billy, since you recorded it, I won't tell you specifically who suffered or who gained from a good pitcher.
Best pitcher of all time, currently, Robinson Cano's dad.
Cano's dad was the best.
That old man lobbing up pitches to Josh Hamilton.
Well, that was also an all-timer. But what was good is this was a really competitive derby. So, like, the first round, you had several guys within just a couple of home runs of each other trying to advance to the next round. You had upsets in that first round based off the betting odds. And then from there, it was cool because everyone kind of learned what the strategy needed to be, how they could handle their bonus pitches, how home run distance could be able to factor into all of that. And so in the end, it ended with basically in the final few seconds, seeing whether or not the guy who went second in the championship round could homer in his final few pitches to get there. And it ended within a homer of each other. It was really, really entertaining and really, really fun.
Billy, can you just shut your ears for a second to cover them up?
Was DJ Irie there?
I did not see DJ.
Really?
I didn't see him this year.
First time in a long time.
It was the guy from SNL that's clearly trying to do a lot of marketing with baseball because he's Hispanic. What's his name? Marcelo?
The dude from down here.
Yeah, he's like clearly his agent is getting him involved in baseball. He's in a commercial. Yeah. He was doing like the intros for everybody.
Who won?
I'll cover your ears. Teoscar Hernandez.
It seemed like every team...
Mike, you look like you don't know who that is.
Is that one person or two?
It seemed like every team that was represented had their second best home run hitter in the competition.
That's
Dodgers,
funny, right?
Ohtani wasn't in it. Phillies,
Bryce
Harper wasn't in it. It was just like,
that is kind of a funny
second
point.
best home run hitter on your team?
Alec Boehm was great, though. He was really fun. And what was awesome is every time that the cameras went up in the TV production element toward one of the players, they kept all the microphones on, and so you could kind of hear their side conversations. And Alec Boehm, when he advanced to the second round, he had a moment where he's just like, just like everyone expected, but just talking to himself. It just happened to be that the camera was near him. And so he had some funny moments. I think people really enjoyed getting to see some of the personalities there and the bonding between the players that stuck around to watch all of it. So for me, it was the perfect setup for tonight's All-Star game with Paul Skeens on the bump. I'm stoked for that.
So I did it, as I mentioned, I didn't hear anything about the home run derby until right now. However, I did see one thing. One thing transcended this event so much that it was shared in group chats all across America. And at one point while we were playing CFB 25, someone just put it up to the headset and said, listen to this. This is indeed, Fergie is off the hook, the worst national anthem I have ever heard. Who is this?
She was Ingrid Andres.
She still is.
She is I guess, well, for now.
Well, I'm asking you because you usually know, like, these contemporary singers.
I've never heard of Ingrid Andres. They said she was a 4-time Grammy-nominated country singer. And
didn't sound like it.
She is bad at
You guys
singing.
want to hear the whole thing or just the parts that I marked for?
No, whole thing.
Okay. Whole thing.
Let's do this.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed by the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting
Oh, the fireworks.
gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Like Taylor.
Oh, say does that star-spangled
Dallas, sorry, this is in Dallas, I guess. Arlington.
Or the land of the free.
Yikes. Yikes.
And the home of the brave.
God bless America.
Sounded like someone was poking her in the armpit at the end of every line. Like,
Goes without saying. I'm not going to say it. It goes without saying.
For the land of the free.
Whoa.
What a riff.
Whoa. Because the previous runs had gone so well for her, too. She's like, no, let me cook.
Tripling down.
And the rockets' red glare.
Oh, dude. Dude, there's like this IG account that does like impersonations of like the indie folk singer that just does like a cover of an 80s pop song, and that felt more put on. That is so bad.
At the 63rd Grammys in 2021, she was nominated for Best Country Song, Best Country Artist, and Best New Artist.
wow. Was that wishful drinking?
Best Country Album,
with
I
Sam Hunt?
apologize. Best Country Song?
Maybe
No, more
I'm just wishful drinking.
More Hearts Than Mine. That's
Yep.
it.
I mean, contemporary music's littered with auto-tune. You got to live tune that
What's
thing.
really amazing is her Wikipedia says fans and critics drew comparison between Andre's performance of the national anthem and Fergie's rendition at the 2018 NBA All-Star Game. They've already put it on her Wikipedia.
Well, so what made the Fergie one iconic outside of just how bad it was like Draymond's reaction to it and everyone trying to hold back laughter? Was there an element of that?
There was an Alec Boehm moment of him. They showed him on camera, and it wasn't even at the worst part. It was like earlier on when you could tell it was going the wrong way, but it hadn't quite gotten there yet, and you can see him kind of doing the same thing of like about to crack a smile, kind of looking down on purpose, knowing the camera was on him.
I'm kind of hoping that Jason Tatum runs into a bad anthem just so he can start copying everybody else's reaction to bad anthems.
Oh, the thing with Fergie though, she was doing a thing. Like she was trying to make it a jazzy.
Yeah. She was doing her. Yeah, she was trying to make her own version of the Marvin
Maybe
Gaye.
that's what was happening here.
No.
And it just went poorly.
For the land of the free.
Good for her. We know her name now.